What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Early Morning Setup, a card show podcast. I'm your host, Murph, and I'm super excited to bring you something completely different than from what we talked about before, where we talked with a bunch of experienced card show people, whether they're vendors, attendees, or people that have just simply been in the hobby for a very long time. I'm here with my friend Jake, who is fairly new to the hobby. He goes to a bunch of shows in the area, and he is very indulged into the hobby as of late, but we can't say that about yourself a year ago, maybe?
Definitely not.
So, Jake, I guess we'll just kind of start off with a blunt question. How long have you been collecting for?
Probably like a year, to be honest with you. It would have been the first time I went into your shop probably a year and a half ago. Probably not this September that passed, the year before.
Yeah, because your dad brought you in.
Yeah, my dad works on he works for UPS. His route was your old shop. And he was always saying, come on in, come with me for one.
He always spoke highly of you, too.
And then just one day, I forget the circumstances, but we just ended up going, and it was fun. I had a fun experience, and that's why I've come back ever since. Like, I'd say like at least once every other week I stop by from the old shop to the new shop.
Would you say that first time in the shop was kind of your introduction or kind of what got you into card collecting and like the hobby, or was there something maybe before that?
Well, I wouldn't say introduction, just 'cause I always knew that like sports cards were a thing. My dad had always had like a couple. Didn't know if they were worth anything. I had other
cool.
Yeah, they look cool. I was into other things. I hadn't been into sports for that long to begin with.
Yeah.
And then I just thought I'll go with him. And when I got there, it was just fun.
That's it. Simple as that.
It was just fun. It was a fun experience. Not only the actual collecting of it, but you have a nice atmosphere to your store.
Oh, I thank you.
And you were friendly, and my dad knew you, so I thought, seems like a good place to hang out.
And it's something that I kind of want to build upon with the shop is I want it to be an atmosphere, an environment for people like yourself to hang out. And as much of it is a business, and yeah, I need to make sales, but like I also want it to be a place for people just to kind of hang out, have fun, watch football, watch games or whatever. And I think that's something that you've been able to enjoy here at the shop and others as well. And one cool thing about you being on, which I think makes it super special, and this was the point that you made, is you collect different things than the majority of people. Sure, you collect football, but your big sport's soccer. So kind of dive into a little bit of how you got into soccer originally.
So I had watched football for a few years before I started getting into soccer. And then I think it was the last World Cup, which would have been the Christmas of... It was either Christmas of 2022 or 2023. I think 2022.
The World Cup was in 22.
Yeah, so it would have been the winter of 2022, where I really got into just watching. Then I got the FIFA, because it was the whatever FIFA game was out at the time, because it was on sale. Because you know how Xbox does the sales at Christmas time. Every game's like 50% off. So, and then playing it was wicked fun. And I had already started getting into cards, so I thought, let's see what I can do with the soccer cards. And it just slowly built up, and then slowly until like almost every show or place I go to, I try to get some kind of soccer thing.
And that's very exciting to dive into. Again, I kind of mentioned how you're into soccer, which a lot of people aren't. So I think the really interesting perspective that you can give here, which we'll get into later on, is the soccer element of it, because you go to a lot of shows, you're going to see a lot of football, basketball, Pokemon even, but the soccer piece of it's very interesting. I want to pick your brains on that in a little bit, but first let's get to know you a little bit more. What are some of your favorite players to collect?
Well, for football, make it CeeDee Lamb. Any Cowboys player, big Cowboys player, really.
Cowboys fan, guys, that's why.
But yeah, CeeDee Lamb was the big one at first. Anything I could get my hands on of him. And then it's just like whatever player like speaks to me at the time. Like if I have a fantasy football team, if I have a player that's doing really well, I'll want to collect Josh Allen, Saquon, my winning fantasy team. Any players that just speak to me. I like the way they play. I'll try to get a card or two of them. But CeeDee Lamb for football anyway is like the big the big guy that I'm looking
The
for.
one, yeah. You know, I got a nice CD auto over there.
I know. I saw it.
Okay.
I saw it. I might have to.
So what about for soccer though?
For soccer, the big one's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Everyone knows that name. So that's
Yeah, everyone
one,
knows.
But
like, so it's everyone either likes Ronaldo or likes Messi.
mm-hmm.
For collecting, you're gonna have a favorite. You're either gonna collect Ronaldo or you're gonna collect Messi. For me, it's Ronaldo because I love Real Madrid.
What about Pulisic?
God, that's like the big misconception with people who don't necessarily love soccer.
He's just
they
the best
think,
American.
Well, no, they just think, one, he's the best American, but they think that like Americans are like
good,
a sneaky like dark horse in soccer. They're good, but they're not like they'll get bounced by most European teams and a couple South American teams that are just leaps and bounds better. It's like if an NFL team played like one of the best college teams like Alabama, not to rub salt in the wound, but like it's like if one of the best college programs faced even just a mid-level NFL team.
Yeah, and I think that you and other soccer collectors having your own niche, I think it's really special because I feel like a lot of football and basketball is more so collecting or at least buying the big names to kind of flip them or so, where you and I feel like a lot of other soccer people that at least come to the shop, I can't speak for everybody, but at least those that come to the shop, the few, that it's more of, I like this player, I want to buy this player. They could be a legend and a GOAT as in Ronaldo, or it could be somebody that people don't even know, just they like the guy for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's super special. Do you have cards in your collection to this day? If so, do you have any favorites?
Like cards I've had since like the beginning?
It could be anything. It could be something you just bought yesterday, or it could be something you've had for years.
Well, my dad I don't think he got it for me, but he had it. Like it's Ronaldo's first I want to say it's I don't know, I forget who made it, but it's his first like licensed like Panini product, I want to say.
Sure.
It's his first World Cup card. It's a 10. It's not worth a ton, but that doesn't really matter to me. If it's in my collection, I'm not really worried about the value too much. Holding value I would like, but value to begin with is not something I'm really concerned about. I think it's worth like 100 on a good day, and that's fine with me because it's his first like licensed Panini card. It's it's to a 10, not numbered. It's graded to a 10. It's a nice card. It's just the base card from that set.
Simple as that. And I mean, we have, I think, a similar perspective on this is we want cards that we just simply like for our collection. We don't care about the monetary value in terms of how much is worth dollar signs, but how much is worth sentimentally or maybe emotionally value. And I think
there's an even balance.
For you?
For me.
Okay.
I don't think I'm not like hammer like, oh, I need to get the most expensive card for my collection. It needs to hold its value, but
like most flippers.
Yeah. I think there's a good balance between value and sentimental value.
Okay.
If you can get a good like mix of the two, I mean, I'm not going to judge other people's collections, but your collection can't go wrong if you have a mix of both.
Yeah.
If you lean towards value for your collection and less on the sentimental side, that's fine. But for me, I'm looking for a decent amount of both, like a 50-50 split.
Yeah,
if a card can have a decent amount of value but a good amount of sentimental value, I'm going to have it in my collection probably forever.
Perfect. No, I definitely like that because a lot of people in their collection will just want the top dollar cards because they think it's the best on the market. Therefore, they think that their collection is the best out there. But it doesn't always have to be like that. You know, not everyone wants junk in their collection. They want nice stuff. They want good quality stuff. And I think having a good balance, I think, is very important, especially in a ever so changing hobby from just a couple of years ago. So since you're a soccer guy, and I really want to kind of focus on a lot of soccer because I think that's a completely uncharted area that I haven't talked about on the YouTube channel. I haven't talked about here on the podcast so far, is because it's so easy to find football, basketball, Pokemon even. And we can even dive into Pokemon too because you're into that. But is it hard to find soccer at shows? I know with like the Mohegan show, you work with, you know a couple vendors, but like going to a show, you're excited. Obviously, you're looking for soccer and anything that catches your eye. But talk to me about hunting for soccer cards.
It's definitely difficult.
Okay.
It's sometimes it's a struggle. So The main show I go to is the Mohegan Show, and it's a blast every time, whether I find a ton of soccer or not, just because hanging out, looking for other stuff is fun. There's a set of like 5 tables that I know are going to have soccer every time. And then other than that, it's basically like it's like who's going to have the $500 Ronaldo card that no one can afford, or like very few people can afford. And then the biggest thing is looking for people with soccer jerseys on, because those are the people that are going to be walking around with their cases that are going to be willing to trade, buy off of each other, help each other out. That's the biggest thing, and I feel like it's the one thing that's really different than other sports, like sports cards collectors, like football, basketball. The soccer guys are gonna have jerseys on to almost as like IDs in the crowd, like I'm a soccer fan.
Hey, I'm basketball.
I'm right over here.
Hey, I'm a vintage guy.
But like the soccer, if you see someone wearing a soccer jersey, you go to them. They're gonna at least point you in the right direction to where someone might have some. But the tables that I do usually go to, they're always helpful with the prices. They're always trying to make a deal. If I'm trying to sell a card, they're always willing to look at it, see if they can help me out. If they can't buy it, send me to someone who might be able to.
I have to interrupt you real quick. I'm so sorry. And I'm not going to stop this recording. So we're recording on January 5th, the last Sunday of the regular season. And I just got a thing from ESPN. Breaking news.
What?
Patriots fire head coach Gerard Mayo after first year with the team.
That's incredible.
I saw that.
Keep
I'm looking
this in
over
the video.
I 100% am.
Great.
So, I mean, I've been doing this now for however many episodes. I have my phone right here off camera so I can refer to the questions. And while Jake was, answering and, talking, I have the questions here. And I'm like, all right, what are we going to ask next? And I see that thing pop up. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Did that really happen?
It literally just happened 10 seconds ago. And I'm like, please hurry up with your answer. I don't want to interrupt. But, oh, my God. Okay, so timeout on the soccer conversation. What does that mean for the Patriots, do we think?
Not only did they fire their head coach, they don't have the number. They don't have, they're not in a position to really... if they had the number 1 or 2 pick, they're in a position to get value, trade down. They don't need a quarterback. But you're at 4.
You have no leverage.
You have no leverage. I think all the teams in front of them need a quarterback.
Browns or Titans have the 1, Browns and Giants. So,
2 of them are taking a quarterback. So there goes Shador and Cam Ward.
Do you think that if the Pats lost, he keeps his job? With that number 1 pick, it's like, all right, we'll give you Drake May from last year, but he looked good. Now let's see what you can do with the number 1 pick. And what you can do with that player, and then we'll.
I think it's tough.
I don't even know
why.
It was
I'm
within
not
the
a fan
contract.
of firing head coaches after 1 season.
Yeah,
there must be more than the on-field performance to get him fired.
There probably is more into it, but he was so bad. He was just underqualified.
Because I'm in a soccer headspace when I think of this, but it applies to football too. You give him 1 off season to rebuild the team, and just because he can't do it in 1 off, you fire him. How many players can you bring in 1 off season?
I think him and both Elliott Wolf, the GM. I think if Mayo's gone, I think Elliott Wolf is gone too. I don't think you just fire one and not the other. Or I think you would have kept both of them or fired both of them. So
Belichick is sitting somewhere in North Carolina laughing. He's sitting in his cushy new head coaching job.
Yep.
He's laughing.
That's so funny.
You guys are Patriots fans. You guys are. It's gonna be rough.
It's funny. So many people were talking about the number 1 pick for the Pats this past week, and trade down, take Travis Hunter, do something, do this. It's like don't use the pick before you have the pick, because nothing was locked in stone. I love this expression. If don't spend the money until you get the money, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy that, I'm gonna do this. It's like, well, hold on, you don't have it yet. I was gonna say you got to get it first. And but I was
gonna say, how many people in the league were like, oh, what I'm gonna
do with those hobby
boxes, and gotta wait till week 17's over, baby, and then you win.
Crazy. Oh man, I mean, we're gonna see an abundance of coaches probably fired. We're gonna see a lot of moves. GMs, coaches gone.
I would say the Patriots head coach, obviously, he just got fired.
Mike Vrabel, baby. Mike Vrabel season.
He's the standout guy for many a team this offseason. Who's gonna get Mike Vrabel? And when I think of it,
I like him.
He's good.
He brings culture. He brings a structure. He brings stability and experience.
But
And I think that's what they need.
In a very offensive league, is a heavily defensive coach going to do it for a young quarterback who needs development?
Well, you need the offensive coordinator at that point. You need I think Cliff Kingsbury in Washington this year did wonders for Jaden.
If I was the Patriots,
Josh McDaniels.
I'd be heavily looking at the offensive coordinator for the Lions, Ben Johnson,
As their coach.
or something.
Yeah.
Get him in there.
But what makes...
Have you seen what the Lions are doing?
What makes New England appealing? Ben Johnson can go to, if there's going to be, let's say, 10 head coaching vacancies, he can go to any 10 of them. What makes you, New England, the standout for him to go to? And I don't think there is.
I think there's a couple. I think there's at least
Besides
two
Drake
things.
May.
I think one, Drake May. You have a young, potentially outstanding quarterback.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him play much this year. He's looked good when I have.
Yeah.
And then I'd say the only other thing is just the legacy of the Patriots.
That's been tarnished over the last 5 years.
Yeah, but you can't tarnish. Even those early Mac Jones years, they were still good.
The Buccaneers had a better post-Brady plan. And Brady was there for, 3 seasons? Than the Patriots did with Tom Brady. And it's now been, 5 seasons?
Yeah.
60.
It's been how many for the Bucs? 2?
They went from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. And
they're in the playoffs.
Seamless transition. And you go from Mac Jones, or Cam Newton first, and then Mac Jones, which Mac Jones started off great. And what I want the Patriots to do is build around Drake May because they failed to do so with Mac Jones. And now you're here with Drake May, who looks good, but you got to build around him.
It's a mess.
All right, so there's a little bit of breaking news. I wish I had a breaking news button. All right, I completely forgot what we were talking about, so I'll just move on to the next question. Why do you enjoy attending card shows?
Just the experience, It's kind of like why I liked coming to your store, but on a bigger level. Being in the scene, there's whenever I come, there's usually someone here. I think very rarely have I come in and it's just been us the whole time. Being in the scene, having conversations with people,
meeting
people, talking sports,
watching a game or something.
Yeah, buying product, just cards, whatever I can get my hands on that I enjoy. It's just a card store on a bigger level. Yeah, basically.
Interesting. I like the kind of the card store on the bigger level because kind of that's what shows are, and these vendors are mini stores for instance. And even though there's a lack of soccer at most shows, if not all shows, you're still able to find enjoyment through that lack of soccer piece. How are you able to find enjoyment if it's not through soccer? Obviously you're a football guy.
Yeah, it's just pivoting.
I was going to say we can talk about Pokemon here too because you're also into Pokemon. I mean, so there's other ways that you can find that enjoyment at shows, right?
Yeah, you just pivot. If I can't, there hasn't been a show yet where I haven't walked out with at least one soccer card. But if I'm not seeing anything I like after a while, if I have a couple and I'm still looking to buy some more, I'll go over to some football tables, see if I can make a deal on something. If the football's not working, there's Pokemon. I'll usually end up getting a Pokemon slab or maybe a couple singles. And then if I'm on a basketball kick because the Celtics are hot, or I've been trying to get into baseball. I know you've been pushing it. I'm getting there. I think once this new season starts, I'm gonna attempt it. Actually give it the full attempt. With the start of a new season.
Yep. Spring training's got to start in February.
I've liked looking at the baseball cards. I haven't gotten any recently, but even just looking at cool cards is fun.
And I think that's something we can kind of revisit too. Having you back on later on, maybe a 6-month checkup or whatever, where you're more experienced, you're more diverse with your collection, you're into baseball, you're more into this or whatever. I think that would be fun to have. Now, I love how you brought up the whole pivoting piece, and I feel like a lot of people that are new into the hobby don't know how to or don't understand the concept of it because they're so, and this is totally fine. This is not nothing against people that like collecting just one thing, but they're so hell-bent on just that one piece, whether it's I'm just collecting football, I'm just collecting basketball, and if I can't find what I'm looking for, I'm just collecting, one-piece cards. I think that's a good example. If I can't find it, that's it. Whereas you like to pivot, you know how to because you kind of know what you want to look for in those other trading card areas, sports, whatever.
I think it's just my personality too. Like I'm a very like I have a million hobbies. Like sports cards is not my only hobby. I love history. I read a lot. I love soccer jerseys.
Yeah.
I have I'm starting to get a collection of soccer jerseys.
A apparel podcast.
There you go. What I have way too many hobbies like for someone who like works part-time and is also in school. I cannot afford all these hobbies. That's why
that used to be me, and then work caught up, family,
That's why I like to get at least a couple things of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just so I'm not saying, "Oh, I haven't got Pokemon in a while," but because I get a little bit of everything, I'm always getting new stuff of everything I'm into in the hobby. Pokemon, soccer, football, basketball occasionally. And if I just see a cool card, like even if it's like, I'm trying to think of a baseball card, like if it's a cool card that I'm interested in the player and it's at a good price for me, I'll snap it up.
Snap it up. I like that. Okay. So what's something you wish you could change about card shows? Now, this is a very open-ended question, but obviously to give you some examples, it could be how the shows run. It could be the vendors, the attendees. I like asking this question because I think everyone has their own answer to it.
So for me, it's not even like some things that I would change. It's like some things that like they can't be changed. It's just like the it's gonna happen at cards. So I get very nervous with big crowds and a lot of people. Okay. But obviously,
you're not the only one though.
Yeah, no. But obviously, if I'm going to a card show, I know there's going to be people, so it's not like I can change that.
Go to like a small show.
But then you're running the risk of like there being no soccer and no of whatever. Like these obscure things that some people collect. Mm-hmm. So that's why you kind of have to go to the big shows. But I'm trying to think of anything else. Just the Mohegan show, for example, is run extremely well. You had
Scott's gonna like to hear that.
Like I've been impressed every time I've gone.
Good.
The security was well. The line, like the security to get in was like that wicked quick. You'd go through the what do they have
like metal detectors?
The metal detectors they have set up. You pay for your ticket, you get the band, you're in.
And done.
You're
That's
in.
It.
And the hall is like, would you call it a hall or is it like a convention room? Whatever.
I'd call it a ballroom maybe.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's huge.
It's funny you mentioned like the line's quick. If you get there right when the show starts to the public, not like the early bird, but like I hear there's like a line that's like 30 minutes.
Oh, well, maybe. I never get there. Well, usually I go on the second day for Mohegan Sun show.
Yeah, it's a lot slower.
And I'm there an hour after it starts. And I usually spend 4 or 5 hours there.
Miss that line, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
But I don't...
So would you just say kind of like maybe more selection, more variety? If you had to kind of pick one thing.
Yeah, but once again, that's not something that like is inherently wrong with the shows. It's just it all depends on what the people bring.
You can go to a show that has 10 tables and they could have 7 soccer tables.
Yeah,
You just never know. Every show's different.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, if I go to the National, there's probably 1 million soccer tables there. That's the goal one day. Head up there with like
go this year.
$2,000 something.
Go this year. It's in Chicago.
Oh, we're not gonna talk about Chicago.
What?
Ugh, Chicago.
What about Chicago? We got time.
Chicago. I would have rather it have been in Cleveland, to be honest. I know that's crazy.
As long as it's not in Atlantic City, that's the only thing. Cause that city is an absolute...
Was it in Atlantic City one year?
It has been in years past. The most recent was in 2022.
Not a fan of Atlantic City?
Absolutely not. It's an absolute dump. That's
like, what I would have said about Chicago, though.
So the area, it's technically Rosemont. So picture it's in Quincy compared to Boston, but there's still
or like Cranston instead of Providence.
Exactly, yeah. You know how like TF Green's like Providence Airport.
Yeah, welcome to Providence. It's
exactly.
Warwick.
Yeah. It's like that.
All right,
so like it's on a.
I'm thinking it's in like downtown.
It's
Chicago.
It is not in down. It's like on the outskirts. It's in a nice area.
Like we're like across the street from like the Sears Tower or whatever.
Cleveland is in the middle of nowhere. It's not even in. Actually, I don't know if it's technically Cleveland or not, but it's in like the middle of nowhere.
Well, when I almost went to the Cleveland show, I was thinking, oh, maybe is it near like is it what it was the Football Hall of Fame.
So that's in Canton. So picture it like Cleveland, whatever town the National was in, which again I don't think is the town under, and then Cannes probably 45 minutes south.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll go there and then
to
swing down on to
Yeah.
Canton for a day and make a day trip of it, and then go back to where the show is, and then head home.
There you go.
Just didn't work out, but hopefully maybe next year. If not, definitely the year after that. Everything's like a
What if?
right
Yeah.
at this point, just because do I make enough money? We'll see.
Go there, sell stuff, trade stuff.
That's the truth.
Experience.
That nice Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I won the fantasy football Murph's Cardtown
Go
League.
get the card. Go get the
Oh,
card.
yeah.
So the Shop Fantasy League, yeah, the buy-in's $100, and the prize for the winner is $1,100 in football hobby product. Second place gets their money back, won by yours truly. And this guy over here, if you can find it, one of the boxes, one part of his prizes was
I just pulled the juiciest stuff I got.
the juiciest stuff. So this is the stuff this is the nice stuff from the boxes that he got. So this is a numbered 7 of 18 Jahmyr Gibbs auto.
That one I'm probably not getting rid of. That one
Again,
I'll probably
this is $100 buy-in, and this is to what was the number again? 7 of 18. It's a variation, and you can see the V on the back, right there. Beautiful card. So this is from a 2023 Contenders hobby box. This is the one that we kind of just alluded to in a second. I know we're all over the place in this episode. 5 of 10 Origins, Jaden Daniel. Yellowish, goldish color match to the Commanders team colors. Jersey number match for Daniels, who's number 5.
I didn't even realize that.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. This is arguably, Daniels is arguably the best quarterback from the class. Drake May gives a run for his money. Bo Nix gives another good run for the money. Me, if I'm a betting man, Jaden Daniels. Adonai Mitchell, on-card auto. Not numbered or anything, but still a nice on-card auto of him.
Nice rookie wide receiver.
Gonna go with the bolt up Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son. I wish he named his son like ramen rice or brown rice or white rice. I don't know, grilled rice.
When I pulled that, I immediately thought it was Lad McConkey.
Yeah, 3 of 10. This is a 3-10. Yeah, imagine this is Lad McConkey. I mean, it's a rookie RPA wide receiver for the Chargers. This easily could have been Lad McConkey. So the Daniels, the Mitchell, this card that I just showed you. And this
what might be the best card of the I don't know. It's between
this is
that
8
and
of 10, right? 8 of 10 Nike switch patch, Xavier Worthy with Reshi Rice's suspension or impending suspension next year. That's by far the best looking
and he's
card.
injured.
Yeah, and Rice is injured too, thanks to Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
But so yeah, this is part of his fantasy football winnings. He paid $100 to get the buy-in, and he got $1,100 worth of football products. So I guess we'll just kind of jump to talking about that. Now that you've ripped a few hobby boxes, do you have the itch to kind of keep buying, to keep ripping, to keep pulling, or is it just like a one-time thing?
So I never get hobby boxes just because one, I can't really afford it.
A lot of people can't though.
Yeah,
It's
that's nothing
it's
to be
an
ashamed
it's an
of,
everybody
yeah.
issue.
And then two, because I can't afford it, I would rather get the surefire. Like I'd rather spend $100 on a slab than $100 on a hobby box to maybe get at least my return, and not even considering like an extra. You know what I mean? Not saying I care about value, but I at least want to. If I'm paying $100, I at least want to know that like it's not like I paid $100 for something that's worth $50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not nothing again. Like not saying I'm gonna like go out and flip or anything like that. But you, as a businessman, you don't want to. You
don't want to waste money.
Yeah, you don't want to waste
I get
money.
it. But like a lot of people will buy boxes like that and actually pay for them, and they'll strike out and they're like, whatever. Or sometimes they'll hit big and they'll kind of think like, oh, this is kind of what you want, like a cough drop or something.
No,
I don't think I even have one. And like that's what they expect every single time, which that's not always reality. You just got a couple really good boxes. I mean, the other autos from the contenders box were kind of.
Yeah, it was like
I don't even think we could name a single guy.
Yeah, no, there was one that was all right.
Tinsley?
No, it was the
Who's the other guy?
The Darnell Washington.
Oh, yeah, the second tight end for the Steelers.
He could be a first tight end soon.
Oh, I guess so. But
isn't he like 6'5"? Like he's huge. He could be good.
Tight ends are like linemen.
But yeah, like the other autos, I was pulling. I was like, who?
But see, like this is like some good stuff here that we could talk about at attending the shows, because we were talking about it. When the shop was open, was going to Mohegan with them. So kind of, I guess we'll jump to a conversation about like strategies. I kind of said like, hey, if Jaden Daniels makes it to the championship, that card could be worth double than what it is now.
Yeah.
If he looks bad in the wild card and they get eliminated, then it's going to go down in value. So kind of talk about the risk reward, the potential strategies.
So I have a few other cards that I'm like I'm waiting to see like how do these teams perform, like the Puka Nacua rookie card. Waiting to see how they perform.
Talk to me about how that was at the Mohegan show last time.
So the last Mohegan show, he was back from injury, but I think he'd only played like 1 or 2 games. Like I think he had one like game and then one like really good game. So no one was like I wasn't even breaking even on what I paid for it. So I just said, you know what, I'll hold it. I'm not in a rush. It's not like I need the money to like
do something
to pay rent or my car payment or something. I'm good. I'd rather hold it. I'm not a flipper. I like to say I'm a renter.
A renter. That's the new one. Put that one on the books, guys. A renter.
If there's like I like Puka Nacua. He was on my fantasy team for when I won.
I felt it. Don't worry.
So if I like the card, I'll buy it and I'll hang on to it for a while, and then maybe after a while I'll say, all right, let me look to start seeing if I can move on from this card at either a profit or break even. You know what I mean? Like you rent a library book at the library. Just for an example, you know what I mean? I like to say it like I'm renting the card.
I'm flipping library books, guys. That's my new endeavor.
Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, absolutely. So like, where you're into these for nothing.
Yeah, I'm into them for
anything is profit. I mean, someone could offer you $100 for the whole stack, and you're breaking even there.
Yeah.
But like, you're in a position where there's a lot of good value to be made there. Is it something that you want to actively push to kind of take advantage of now? Or do you maybe just kind of want to wait to see what... I mean, Adonai Mitchell's value is not going to go up
I think
because
it all
he's
depends
out.
on the situation.
So, like, obviously, let's say, Xavier Worthy in the divisional round, he catches 3 touchdowns. Obviously, that's going to go up. But if he does nothing, it could go down as well. I mean, it's out of 10, so it's a little, it's not base card. But, like, there's so much that could happen between now and the Mohegan show, which takes place, I think, the weekend after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, I guess my question is, do you be patient and just wait and the playoffs will play out how they do? Or do you kind of want to keep tabs on what's kind of going on to see if like, oh, he caught 3 touchdowns this weekend, let me try to get rid of it while it's high, and then go into Mohegan with, an extra $200 or whatever?
I think it comes down to a few different factors. One, what's the situation the player's in at the moment? Like Adonai Mitchell's, that card's probably like it could be worth something. It has potential.
Yeah.
But right now, I wouldn't expect it to be more than $50.
You just gotta kind of either sell it now for whatever the value is, or wait till preseason for him to look good.
I would say like the big one is the Jaden Daniels card.
Yeah. Because
we all saw what happened with C.J. Stroud this season. Everyone was buying Stroud, and they're limping into the playoffs.
Did they even make it?
Yeah, they made it. They won the division.
Oh, duh. Yeah. Trash bag.
But
look at Bryce Young this instance. Not to cut you off, but like everyone wrote him off. Oh, he sucks. Oh, the Panthers should have took Stroud, and Stroud's the best.
He just won. I mean, it was for nothing, but he just balled out on.
Oh, fantastic!
On week 18 against a team that was trying to get into the playoffs, win and you're almost in, and they couldn't do it.
And that's the thing with like these rookie quarterbacks, or these young quarterbacks, is like me. It takes 3 years to figure out what they're worth in this space, or just worth as a good quarterback. You look good 1 year, you look bad 1 year. What do you do the 3rd year?
So my only thing is, 3 years for a card like that, you're gambling.
Oh no! You either have to tell yourself, all right, I'm gonna move this quick,
or I'm gonna hold on to it for like until he retires,
or I'm gonna hold on to it for a very long time, and he breaks a record something next
Yeah.
year, and then I move it then because that's the new peak.
So I really think I think the only one of the ones I just pulled that I'll seriously consider moving between now and Mohegan is the Jaden Daniels one.
Don't even want to touch the Worthy. Don't want to. I know you said you wanted to PC the Gibbs, right?
The Gibbs I'm gonna keep.
Okay.
Because I like Gibbs. I've drafted him like 2 years in a row now.
What about Brendan Rice?
Talk
to me about Brendan Rice.
If there's a Brendan Rice fan out there,
let him know.
Let him know. let me know.
That's so funny.
Like, you never know though. Like, the Chargers, they're not like stacked
they're
at
in the
wide
playoffs.
receiver. But they're also not stacked at wide receiver either.
They got a revolving door.
They have McConkey, who's gonna be their wide receiver one, their slot guy.
He's their stud, yeah.
Or just their everywhere guy because he's played on the outside too. Quentin Johnston, he's looked okay. He at least can hang on to the ball this year.
Yeah, that's promising.
Josh Palmer, I'm not really worried. I'm not really like saying, oh my god, he's a franchise guy.
Top 12 receiver.
He's good.
Yeah. And then there's Brendan Rice.
And then there's Brendan Rice. There's probably like 3 people in between them and him.
Oh god.
But
that's a sick patch though. I mean, that's the. Hold on, let me grab it again.
If that was Lad McConkey.
So this is the thing about like cards and cool cards and such is like that patch bolt up. I mean,
never mind the auto.
Yeah, forget the auto. Let's cover that. But like that's such a sick looking patch because it's kind of like an inscription. It's not just a napkin. It's a phrase that they say. You know, picture it being "Go Pats" or JETS for the Jets.
Yeah.
Or whatever your team slogan may be, and like rookie 3 of 10. Like there's so much juice on this bone. I mean, obviously we got to see what kind of player he becomes, but like. This is just, in a vacuum, a really cool card.
Yeah.
And it's the son of arguably the best receiver of all time in Jerry Rice, which we looked up. I mean, neither of us
So the potential's there.
Exactly. So he has it in his blood. I watched the Detective Pikachu movie last night, and he says, I can feel it in my jellies. So that's something Kim wants to start saying.
You never know.
So, like, I mean, again, I want to kind of preface, kind of just randomly interject here is like cool cards. That may have no value right now, but it's just a really good-looking, cool
That's
card.
That's a card that I could hold on to for like 4 years, and you never know. He has like one like, there's always that. Remember when Hunter Renfrow had that 1 year where like he went off for like 13,000 yards, like
1,000. Whoa,
1,300.
Jesus,
1,300. You remember? It was like
it was
like 2021.
Okay,
I think it was the 2021 season. It was that year where the Raiders were just like.
That was the year. That was the year before they brought in Myers because there was like questions like, oh, how does this work with him, Myers, and like Devontae Adams?
I think it was last year of Goff, or Jesus,
Carr.
Carr.
Probably.
I think it was the last year of Carr, but yeah, Hunter Renfrow, he was good. He's not even on a team anymore. But he had that one year where like he just went off.
That's it. You just never know with these guys, especially the receivers, running backs too. They fall into that mix. I mean, quarterbacks we could talk about all day with like Sam Darnold.
Especially receivers on teams where there's not like an alpha guy, like diva receiver. It's just like whoever gets their get your elbows out. Let's fight for the 3 positions.
So
the 3 starters.
Yeah, and I think having these cards specifically, the Worthy, the Daniels, and the Mitchell. I mean, the Mitchell's kind of like probably like a cherry on top of any deal, if anything.
The Mitchell's like the.
But like it gives you so much, like buying power in a way. Though you don't have. I mean, we just talked about you can't spend your money before you get it, but that Jaden Daniels card is at least worth a few $100. Again, I don't know what the damn comps are, but like. Between now and the Mohegan show, it could either skyrocket in price. It's not going to crash and plummet because
it's gonna flatline.
It'll flatline.
Plateau.
It might have its ebbs and flows, but like a lot of people are going to want that card because he may look good in the wild card round. They may still lose, but he's going to look good. And going into, I mean, just like last year, C.J. Stroud looked good even though they lost, but they're going to go into the offseason wanting Jaden Daniels, and that's one of the better cards, especially with no autographs.
Now, I'm a novice when it comes to like gauging the price of a card. Like I'll look at a card and be like, oh yeah, that's a $100 card, and the guy's like, it's actually worth $350, and I'm like, oh
okay. It's worth $3,000.
but just basing off of like what it is, what it came out of, the number, how he's playing, I think if he looks good and wins a wild card game, it's got to be close to a $500 card.
I mean, this is my thing is, again, he's arguably the best quarterback from the class. Now, if you put Drake May on that or you put Bo Nix on that, Just if you have those 3 cards out of 10, what are you more likely to gravitate to? Probably the Jaden Daniels.
The guy who's won the NFL Rookie of the Week like 11 weeks in a row or
so
something.
like just in that value, so you have a very valuable card just by itself. Now you mix in the whole 5 of 10 jersey number match. The gold is kind of a color match.
He's entering the playoffs.
He's still a rookie. So I mean, there's still so much juice on that bone. And again, at this time, we don't know what the Broncos game looks like, if they're going to be making the playoffs or not. But like if Bo Nix doesn't get in, I mean, by the time you're seeing this, you've already seen the playoffs and if you got in or not. But we don't know in real time. But if Bo Nix can get in, now there's going to be that whole conversation with Bo Nix. But again, who's a sexier player and name to talk about? Probably Jaden Daniels, just because he's more exciting to watch.
Yeah.
And I think that alone carries its own value, because if you have the same card in Drake May, well, he's not in the playoffs or anything.
If you get a guy who's like a Jaden Daniels like fanatic Washington fan, like they'll overpay.
Yeah, the fans for Washington are definitely more committed than Broncos fans.
I would like to know who they're playing if it's set yet.
Well, by the time this comes out, we'll already know.
Yeah.
The first round will already come and gone, but again, in real time, we have no idea.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
I don't know.
They're the.
I could actually. I don't want to look it up. I don't want to ruin it.
They're not a division winner.
Aren't they? I think they're like the state, because
they're the.
Crap, did they win or lose?
They won.
And the Packers lost. So I think they're the 6th seed.
So they're playing.
But again, what about the Seahawks? Because they had the same record. So I don't know, like, because of tiebreakers. Because I think the Packers are in, even though they lost. I think they're.
So they could be playing. I don't know.
6. They would play the 3. Who's the 3? There's the Eagles, the Bucks, the Lions, or the Vikings. Whoever ends up with that 1 seed, and then there's what's the other team I'm missing? The Rams. So
I think
probably
play
playing
the
the Rams.
Rams.
I would assume.
That's a winnable game if they're playing the Rams.
Yeah.
All you need, Jaden Daniels he could throw for 3 touchdowns, run another one in,
and
then that card's just like on fire.
Again, just it keeps ticking up and up. And another thing about this is a good thing to mention too for people at shows who are looking for cool cards, one of a kind kind of cards, is being out of 10. There may be 0 comps on that card right now. In this moment,
it's going to be everyone ballparking, like using any other out of 10 Jaden Daniels, not. Then
trying
you have
to find
factor
something.
like it's from Origin, so it's a little
better of a product than, let's say, Contenders or whatever.
Yeah.
They might be trying to gauge it off of an out of 15 that maybe is sold, or maybe an out of 5 that's sold for more. Again, what you're trying to ballpark it, and that's a tricky game in and of itself too, because you want to make sure you get the fair and the right value.
If I can just get a fair price,
I'll give you $100 for it right now. Yeah. Everything else would be free. No, I mean fair price, absolutely, and
it's just gonna fund
the next
me at another show.
Yeah,
like instead of me taking $300 or $200, whatever I can get for it out of my bank account to go to a show. That's basically a show's worth of cards that I can go get now.
And that's an internal discussion that you kind of need to have with yourself, is between now and the Mohegan show or whatever your next show may be, is what do I want to do with the value that I'm currently sitting on? Do I want to kind of sit, let it marinate, go up or down, whatever it may do, or do I want to kind of move them now to kind of take that capital into the show instead of getting that capital at the show?
I don't know if you remember, but I've made this mistake before. When me and my dad first came in, I pulled that Desmond Ritter.
Oh, yes.
I think it was out of 50 or maybe
49.
Out of 20,
Purple out of 49. Yep.
Purple out of 49. When he was when he was going to be the starter for the year, but this was like 2 seasons ago.
This is like soon when you first started coming in.
Yeah, that was the first time he came in when we pulled that. And I sat on it for just a little too long. He got benched, and then
I might have even made you an offer right then and there for it. I forget.
I don't think you did. I think you told me to. You didn't tell me to wait, but I think you told me just because this is your first time.
Yeah.
Hang on to it. You just got a nice. You don't get rid. You know what I mean? Which is good advice.
Thank you.
It's solid advice. I don't want to. I get what you meant. And then I think I waited too many weeks in the NFL season. He got benched. I think he came back and then even looked worse. And then it went from a $70 card to maybe a $15 card in the span of 2 months.
So with knowing that and remembering that and having that happen, does that change your perception at all with this Jaden Daniels card?
Well, it's definitely different because he's a
Much better player.
Desmond Ritter wasn't even what was he, like a second or third round pick?
I think it was third or fourth.
I don't
remember off the top of my head, but he wasn't 1-2 overall.
And he's on a playoff team.
Yep.
Like, it's not at the beginning of a season where we're entering the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he can like implode. Like the value can implode.
Vomit on
like,
himself.
Yeah, like it did with the Ritter card. But I'm definitely gonna pay more attention. Like who are they playing? How's the matchup look? What if I can do my own like research? What are the comps going for cards that are maybe similar? If there is another
out of 10, but keep in mind it's 5 of 10, so there is a premium there because it is jersey number match. Whatever that premium may be, 10%, 20%, $100, whatever. I mean, so that's tricky piece because there could be a 3 of 10 that's sold. But in comparison to the 5 of 10, doesn't matter.
We really don't know how much that card is worth.
No, we have no idea.
Right now,
we have zero idea.
It could be anywhere from 100. I think it's certain that it's at least around 100.
I'm gonna just guess it's a $230 card.
I would say somewhere between 200 and 300, but
I'll look it up. Keep talking.
I think if they can win the wild card game and he looks good, I wouldn't be surprised if by Mohegan it's like a $500 card.
Well, by the time the people are watching this, they'll have already known, and we could just be having this conversation about potentially winning the wild card, beating the Rams for absolutely nothing because they got blown by the Bucs or something.
Yeah, or someone could have Baker Mayfield could have came down to wherever they're playing and just rip them to shreds.
Absolutely. All right, so while I look up this card, and I'll interject when I pull up the value, talk to me about, let's bring it back to card shows here. Talk to me about your best card show story. This could have been something you purchased, traded for, a deal you made, a deal you didn't make, whatever it may be. Do you have a best story right now that you could go into?
See, this one was a hard one when you sent me the questions to kind of prepare, because I don't think I've had like a standout story, but I haven't had a bad story. Like every time I've experienced like good experiences, like whether it be I couldn't even shout him out because I don't know the name of his I don't think he has a store, but like one of the soccer tables I go to, they always recognize me. They always try to make a deal.
Yeah,
they always try to help me out, which is very, very nice.
One of their
very
3
nice
customers.
Guy. Probably for soccer. Well, they don't just have just soccer. That's the thing. They have other
okay.
stuff, but it's like majority soccer.
Yeah.
Like they have those. The glass cases that you bring.
Yeah, like the display cases.
They have probably like 3. One is full of just soccer.
Mm-hmm.
One's probably like 50% soccer, 50% just like other cards, other sports, and then one's probably just other sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to their table. I try to find them. Well, because the setup at Mohegan's like the same.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the same spot, so I know where they're gonna be roughly. And I go to their table every show, and they recognize me, and I always end up getting at least one card from them. They always, if there's always wiggle room, they're never trying to slam me with the price.
That's good.
Saying no, there's no negotiation.
Yeah, I'm firm, whatever.
Firm, no. They always if I say if it's a $90 card, I say, can you do 80, 85, maybe 75 or something? Can you help me out a little bit? They're like, sure.
Yeah.
No problem.
So I found a sale on the Daniels. This is same exact card, but 2 of 10.
Oh, are we gonna be surprised? Are we gonna be happy? Or are we gonna be sad?
So again, we're recording on January 5th. The sales of January 2nd. This is 2 of 10. So we've been kind of just speculating, horsing around a little bit. Give me your official prediction. Now remember, mine was 230.
I'm gonna say like 215.
510.
No way.
I'm dead serious.
You're joking.
I'm dead serious. January 2nd. I'm gonna.
That's crazy. Was it an auction or was it a buy-in? Was it like?
That's as good as it's gonna get, guys. It was a buy now.
Wow.
So again,
$510.
Best offer accepted. 510. Yours is without a doubt a $600 card because it's 5 of 10. That's just my opinion. Now, if someone wants to...
Now, that puts it into a whole new perspective.
So, okay, yeah. So, I want to talk about soccer. I want to talk about this. But, man, we're
This
we're talking about Gerard Mayo being fired. We're talking about Jaden Daniels out of 10s.
Soccer is soccer. I'm always going to be interested in soccer, but I'm not going to have this forever.
This is a conversation piece today.
Yes.
So, knowing it's a $600 card, and we're going to call it a $600 card, and if anyone wants to argue with that, you're more than welcome to. But, again, if this was your card, and you see a 2 of 10 selling for $510, and you have 5 of 10 team color match, jersey number match, you're going to tell me that it's not at least a $600 card?
So what I like to say...
Go ahead.
...is it might not be a $600 card, but it's worth $600 right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is a better question. Do you pounce on that market? Say you throw it up on eBay for like $650, let someone sell it. Do you try to sell it locally or try to go to scram to a quick show the next weekend? Or do you hold to your guns and hope that it doesn't go down? Because if another one sells, let's say 8 of 10 sells for $400, now your 5 of 10 is now no longer 6. It's probably closer again to 5.
So I think there's that factor. There's another 9. There's another 8 of them out there, because between that one and this one, that makes 8 more.
And they might not even be pulled. They could be in collections off the market.
But they're out there.
They're out there, yeah.
So you got to think of like, I don't want my price to get slapped by another one getting sold for like $200 or something.
Yeah.
Because that happens all the time. Like there's always some weird sale where like a
is
card
one.
that's worth $400 sells for like $150 or something. Maybe not that extreme, but it happens.
All it takes is one.
And then I think the big thing is I really want to wait and see who they're playing in the wild card.
I guess you'll find out tomorrow. Well, for us tomorrow.
Yeah. I just want to see how it all hangs out. Transpires. Worst case scenario, maybe I
trade it. Maybe you trade it, get some other stuff. Trade maybe into.
Maybe I send it up on eBay for more than I think I can get.
So that's what I always tell people.
Offers, throw it up for maybe a little bit of a reach, maybe $750.
Do it.
$800. See what people say.
Someone might see the 510. Maybe he balls out. They see it's 5 of 10, and they're like, crap. Let me try to get this. Graded even, whatever.
Well, that's the thing. I'm kind of.
I'll trade you the CD auto for it.
No. Give me the CD auto and give me 10 of those.
Oh, I don't have 10.
Yeah. But I think that's not a bad idea, putting it up for
see
$700-800.
What happens.
If he balls out, it's worth that much. If he doesn't, I'll get offers lower and I can kind of
feel it out.
Feel it out. But I was not expecting that to be worth $500 right off the rip.
I didn't either. I mean, we kind of joked around about when
How
we
much
first
was the box worth? The box is only worth $350.
Yep.
So I'm already in the green.
You're already in the green.
If I paid $350 for the box,
which you only paid $100 for the fantasy spot. So actually, the box cost you $100. All 7 boxes, whatever I gave you. All right, so. As we wrap up this episode, we've talked about a bunch of different things, and we've been all over the place. Actually, it's been fun being off script. What's something you would say to someone just getting into the hobby, which you yourself was in this position not too long ago? What's something you would say who's looking to get into the hobby or may not know a thing or two about the hobby? So where you're at right now, what do you think would be some wise words you could tell them?
So, I know I look young, but I'm 21.
That's pretty young.
So, but by my face, some people think I'm 15.
We're decades apart.
Yeah. So, but I like to think that I'm mature for my age. I would
agree with that.
I think so. So it's easier for me to do this, but a big piece of advice is look for character. I trust you.
Thank you.
I respect your opinion over I've learned that over the months and now year and a half that I've known you. I can trust your opinion, and
makes me feel so warm.
So I would say try to find someone in the hobby like that.
Kind of lean on, maybe.
Kind of not lean on, but ask for advice. Mm-hmm. Just you help me, I help you. You're more experienced.
Yeah.
Now, when I say I'm more mature, it was easier for me to deduce that you were the person that I thought you were, like a genuine.
Oh, okay.
like a genuine, kind
person,
not shady, not backhanded.
It's not that hard to be a nice person, really.
Yeah, but for someone younger, it's gonna be a little harder to not get exploited.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Or ripped off.
I agree.
Because I'm sure we both can have heard stories of like a 16-year-old going to a show for the first time and he gets like absolutely just
16-year-olds are also the ones you got to watch out for too. I mean, it goes both ways. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people try to get the upper hand of other people, and sometimes it's by accident. Maybe you didn't see something. Maybe you undervalued it by mistake. But but other times it is deliberate, and I mean. I've been scammed before. I'm sure people watching have been scammed before or got a bad deal or maybe even bought a card and next thing you know, it's gone down in value. So
I've never been like outrightly like scammed.
Well, let's keep that up.
But I've definitely made like a deal or two that afterwards I'm like, something doesn't like feel right about it.
Do you want to go into it or no?
No. Like it wasn't any like You know the person and I know the person.
Crap, I forget.
They're not the type of person that would like outrightly like rip.
Could you explain them without saying name? We don't need a, because I'm trying to. I don't remember.
I'll tell you after the video.
All right, secrets, guys. We're keeping secrets.
The dude's a funny dude.
Is it LaJoe?
He would never rip anybody, like, especially like me or like someone like that off. Like you know what I mean? He's
early morning setup guest throws shade at previous early morning setup.
And he knows.
Guest.
But like, and it was definitely just I probably didn't do enough research on the card, and just the deal afterwards kind of like was a little one-sided.
Yeah, but that happens.
And that's my fault. I was.
That's good. And
I can admit, like that's why I said like he didn't do anything. Like it wasn't like, oh, he ripped me off and this and that.
Mm-hmm. An additional piece of advice.
I probably didn't do enough research on what I was getting into.
Yeah, an additional piece of advice, if you wanted to circle back to the question or a question that I'll be asking in just a few minutes, is to make sure you do research, extensive research. Check eBay, check 130 Point, check Card Ladder, cross-reference, look at this app, look at that app, look at this site, because you want to make sure you know what you're getting into, especially once you start handling with bigger numbers, like $500-$600 card. You want to make sure we know what it's worth before you go sell it. We want to make sure we know what a card's worth before we go buy it or trade for it. When you're dealing with like $10, $20 cards, it doesn't really matter as much. But like, I guess that's a good learning lesson for you in this hobby is like, hey, I didn't look into this card as much as I should. You know what? Now I know. And next time I go make a deal, I will make sure I look at 2 or 3 different sites or ask someone, hey, you know what the value of this is?
And I've done deals with him since then. They've all gone smoothly.
Perfect. Yeah.
And that's how I know.
Early morning setup guest takes back shade about early morning setup guest.
But yeah, and it was definitely like my negligence in what I was dealing with, because it had probably been a couple weeks since I had looked at the value of either card, like the card I wanted and the card I was getting rid of. And probably mine had gone up a little bit. Yeah. And the card I had gotten from him had gone down a little bit.
It happens. That's just the market, though.
Yeah, no, it's nothing. That's why I say it's not like he ripped me off. Yeah. He didn't.
And that's why we don't have to dive into it, but that's why flippers are having a lot of troubles, because they get a card and they sit on it for too long, or someone buys it as an investment, they sit on it too long, and it loses value.
And just to be like just for clarity, I ended up moving on from the card, and I got something back from it.
There you go. So you made it kind of work.
I ended up putting it towards another card that I want. It was at the soccer table. I said, hey, can we do a deal where like maybe you take this card and I'd take this card and some cash, and they said, yeah, that works.
Perfect.
So it ended up going towards something
you wanted anyway.
I wanted anyway. So that's why I'm not like it wasn't a bad situation. Even like bad, unless someone gets like robbed, like someone steals something. Yeah. You can turn a bad situation in the hobby into a good one.
Always looking at the grass being greener on the other side. And again, I made a video about this where, say you have a $100 card, next thing you know, you look at it, it's $50. Okay, how can we make this $50 card back into $100 of value? Trade down, trade in cash, try to recycle, and try to capitalize that additional value that you're able to get. And a lot of people don't want to put in the work, and not that it was a lot of work for you to do, but again, that's how you're able to look at it from a better perspective. It's like, oh, instead of I got screwed on the market changing, I was able to take it for the value that it is and get something that I actually wanted instead.
And so far, that's the only, like, I'm not a big seller. I'm mostly a buyer. That was the only card I think I've even, like traded at a show. I think that was the only one, because mostly I'm just buying, like I'll go to Mohegan with, like, $200-300, and I'll make it work. Well, no, because then some people will come in with, like, $2,000 or something. You know what I mean?
Some people go in with big bucks.
I'll come in with what I can afford.
Yeah.
And I'll stretch it over the couple hours. Like, sometimes I won't even spend it all. Sometimes I'll spend $150 out of 200 or 300 if I bring it. Just if I can, I like to get at least 2 or 3 slabs and a handful of singles. And if I can walk out with that, I'm happy.
For someone who might be nervous about getting or going to their first card show, being, to a few or a bunch now yourself, what's a reason you would tell them to just go? Because a lot of people are nervous about the big crowds, or maybe they don't know how to negotiate or work deals. Yeah. For someone that's nervous, could be a kid, could be an adult, doesn't matter. What's that one piece of advice that you what's something you would say, just go?
So first thing is, I wouldn't go to, like, not like saying Mohegan's, like, too big, but maybe don't go to a super huge one right off the rip, like alone, like your first card show. I that was the first card show I went to, but it was different. I've been to, like, other conventions like a card show. I used to do, well, I still do, but I don't have the space for it. I used to do model trains a lot, and I've been to model train shows up in Massachusetts, like at the like the Big E. You know, the Big E Convention Center?
In Springfield?
Yeah. They do a model train show there.
Love the Big E.
I think it's like a 3-day show.
Wow.
It's a big show. I haven't been in a while just because I'm not out of it. I'm, like,
busy.
I'm, like, dormant in the hobby.
In that hobby.
In that hobby. But I've been to big shows like that before. So I kind of felt like, okay, especially since I knew you there. I know a couple other people there. LaJoe, if he's there.
LaJoe.
Joe's awesome.
Shout out you, Joe.
Shout out to Joe.
The second Joe on the podcast.
So that would be the first thing. And then the second thing is, if you're going to go to a big show and it's like your first big show, don't go alone. Either go with someone someone, or meet people there that you already know, like how I know you and other people that
I'll stop by their table.
Yeah, or that are either vendors or are just also gonna be at the show, that I know.
Yeah.
If like God forbid something happens or anything, I know I can go to your table or something if something ever, like, if someone stole something or if there was an emergency, anything.
That's smart. That's definitely a good
It's
piece.
also like Mohegan's at a casino. Like
risky.
Like, not risky, it's just there's more people that are there than just for the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It can be overwhelming for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people, can be, I don't want to say camera shy, but, like, they're shy from big audiences and such. A lot of people might go to the early bird portion of the show, just to get in and get out before the whole crowd gets in there, because, I mean, the crowds, as you've seen, they get pretty big. They get pretty aggressive, especially when there's like 10 people around a table trying to, try to get to see the case. So, no, I mean, I think going to any show with someone else just makes it more enjoyable, because you can look out cards for me. I'll look out for cards for you. We can talk. We can discuss. Hell, maybe we can make a deal together while we're at the show or whatever. I mean, I just think going to a show with somebody, it just helps generate that excitement within the space. And I think that's what makes it extremely fun.
And from what I've seen, the Mohegan Sun security, or whoever they have there, what is it?
I think it's like the casino security.
The casino police or whatever that they have present has been excellent. Like, there was that one incident.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it.
Was it no? It was 2 shows ago. It wasn't the last show. It was the last show in September.
I think someone was stealing, maybe, and obviously this isn't something we're proud of to experience from a show. But again, these are things that we do need to talk about.
They happen.
And they happen. I mean, we've all heard of the Dow situation. Obviously, people stealing cards is unfortunately always going to be a nature of the hobby. But it's just human nature. Like, people steal from, like, grocery, like anything. Type of they'll take a candy bar. I mean, I've had someone steal dollar cards from me. I'm like, is the risk worth the reward? Whatever.
No, yeah.
Whatever. But it's
yeah,
part of it.
That
And
situation was dealt with in like.
I didn't even know about it. I was walking the floor and I had no idea. I get back to the table.
It was like right by your table too.
I know, yeah. So I was away at the floor, away from my table, walking the floor, and I get back, and
your brother was like,
yeah, my brother Donnie was like,
everything.
"Did you know the police were here?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Yo, yeah, like right over there, someone was caught stealing. I'm like,
and of course,
what?
your brother was like, "I saw everything."
I was diving in there, handcuffing him. Oh my god. If you could go back in time, this is our last question here. If you could go back in time to your novice self, I guess that's not that long ago, but still, you've learned a lot between now and your first exposure to the hobby, and give your own self a piece of advice. So try to think outside the box here that you now know but didn't know then. What would it be?
So, just for like background, I don't even think we even really mentioned it like that in depth, but like before 2020, I was not like a sports fan. Like I watched the Super Bowl when it came on.
Definitely no Cowboys, but
thanks. But I didn't watch sports regularly. Like I'd watch it if my dad had it on, but I just wasn't like I was a theater kid in high school. I didn't play any sports. I liked history and I did theater. And then I think just the boredness of COVID, like how everyone got their COVID money and invested in the sport. I invested my time into watching sports.
Yeah.
And I started with the football, and then like I said, we ventured into soccer and basketball, the football. But what was the question again? I was trying to give a little background.
I was gonna say where were we gonna get here? What you now know.
Oh, what I know.
What could you tell your novice self then? What you now know. What's like a piece of advice?
So I think two things. The first thing is pace yourself.
Pace. Okay.
Like I remember at the beginning I was like, oh, I want this card and this card. Like there's like I mention all the time. There's still in my eBay watch list. It's like for $1,000.
Oh, the CD.
The CD Lamb booklet. It's sick. I'm gonna get it eventually. I want it so bad.
But not for $1,000.
But not for $1,000. Pace yourself.
Yeah.
He's gonna whoever owns it is gonna over the price. You never know. Maybe a little.
Maybe. See, you can sell the card to fund the purchase of the CD.
You never know.
Throw $600 at him. Maybe he takes it.
So it's definitely not worth $1,000.
Yeah.
But so the second thing is like it's not really advice. It's more of just like a truth. Mm-hmm. The things you think are valuable, they are not valuable.
Nope.
Like at the beginning when I had like the Ronaldo card I mentioned, I was like, oh, this card's got to be worth $500. It's like worth $100. It's worth $100. It's worth $100 on an average day.
People oftentimes get confused about that. People will see big names or shiny cards. Wow, that's gotta be expensive. Oh, he's a Hall of Famer. It's like,
oh yeah, you see the people. Oh, I have this LeBron James card, and it's like from his like 6th year.
My favorite is like 80s and 90s. Like, oh, Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., Nolan Ryan. It's like the names sure help, but it still doesn't mean it's
like
not. Like
how many
a quarter
times
card.
have we been like talking in the store and someone comes in and they're like, oh, I have this.
I have a bunch of old cards.
And you're like, is it 80s or 90s?
Yeah.
And you're like, and you tell them in the most respectful. You're actually really like after so many times I would not be. I'd be like, get out, like what? Come on, but like they're not valuable.
Nope, they're everywhere.
So many were made.
People probably already have them. People just simply don't want them. If you have them, so doesn't the next 3 houses down the street. It's just oversaturation, and that's again one thing about the cool cards you have, and there's nothing really out there of it. And I think that's something that a lot of people kind of forget is cool cards. It doesn't have to be the big names, the flashy names, just cool looking cards. And I think that's something really important to take away.
Well, I know that by the time this video comes out, it'll be a while, but you never know. You might see this card on eBay very soon.
I mean, like we just discussed earlier, throw it up for a stupid number. Someone might take it thinking that if they win that first round, it could double in price or whatever. Or they can maybe make a run at the Super Bowl and it could triple in price. Who knows?
If I could get $700 for that card right now.
That's a pretty, I think it's worth $6, but.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If I could get a little more than what I think it's like
throw it up on eBay for like $900. Throw it up for $900.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta if you over think there's.
But then, since you mentioned it, now you're almost putting yourself in the same shoes as the guy with the CD Lamb card. He knows it's not $1,000 card.
But that's why you don't overdo it. If it's worth $6, I have no problem putting it up for like $750. You know what I mean?
Keep in mind eBay fees, 13%.
That's what I'm saying.
13.
But there's a
whatever.
difference where, like, how much did you pay for
$250 each, so $500 together.
the CD Lamb one? Can't be worth that much more, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's got to be comparable.
So I mentioned this on another video. I think it was on maybe on the channel members only video. This Jalen Waddle Rose Bowl patch, 6 of 10. And then this Devontae Smith Reese Senior Bowl patch. What is this? This is 6 of 8.
So the CD Lamb one is 2 of 5.
So it's technically better than these.
It's technically better, but I don't think that warrants $800 worth of profit. You know what I mean?
And CeeDee Lamb is a better receiver
Yeah.
than those two, but these two aren't scrubs, so it's not like there's a light year difference between the two. When Waddle and Smith are both healthy and they're both putting up numbers, they're both top 5, top 10 receivers. And CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion, is a top 3 receiver, so there's going to be a little extra premium.
I think it's him.
Plus
Jefferson,
being
and
out
Chase.
of five
Yeah.
too. Plus you said it's 2, right? So that's his collegiate jersey
Yeah,
number max.
but it's not $800.
No. So like that's the thing though. It's like if these are $250 each,
I could see the CD Lamb one being like 5 or 6.
I was gonna say 4. Personally.
That's what I would pay 5 or 6 for it. So, but that's what I mean. So he has it for 1,000. If I think it's worth 5, that means he's saying it's $500 more on it more than what it's worth. So I'm not gonna do that much.
He's trying to find a sucker that'll pay for it.
So I'm not gonna do that much with that. If it's worth 500 right now, I put it for 750,
And
maybe 800.
And just see what you can get, yeah. And that's
If I put it for something, I'd probably put it for 800, and see what offers I get.
yeah.
And
might as
if
well.
nothing comes, I'll lower it a little.
Put it up tonight. I mean, now's the perfect time to start fielding
I know
those
they just
offers.
won their last regular season game. They're 12-5 now, I think.
After a great season, playoff team, a wild card team. They won't have a home game, but again, between now and when this episode comes out, I mean, they could either won and they're in the divisional and the card's worth more. And again, people might be, they don't want to pay for it more, then they want to buy it now and then sell it for more. Or they lose, and again, it's not going to plummet. Like you said earlier.
Stabilize.
Stabilize. It'll flatline.
It'll probably go from like a $500-$600 card to like a 4.
Yeah, and I think that's a completely fair evaluation of what the card's potential future is if they lose.
And you know what's funny? When you handed me, well, it's in a pack, right? They're all in
it
one
was
pack.
just one pack.
I opened it and I saw that it said Jaden Daniels on the back, because you know when you open it, it says the name of the player on the back.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm thinking, what is this? I thought he said Jaden Daniels wasn't in this, but because it's only autos that aren't in that. So I'm like, oh, I wonder what this could be.
I mean, outside of autos, that's like one of the better cards. Is like low number cards.
The only thing better than that would have been a 1 of 1 or something out of 5.
Yeah.
Or a patch.
Yeah. Yeah,
Could
I mean,
have been like
imagine
a
imagine that worthy patch with that would have been beautiful.
That would have been that would have already been on eBay.
Yeah, I agree.
If it was that, but with a patch.
Is that gold or orange, do you think? I've been saying gold this whole time.
I think it's more of like a mustard yellow, but that's the color of their.
Yeah.
They're like a maroon and a mustard.
Interesting. I wonder what the checklist says.
But if it was a patch on that, like you basically just take that patch, turn it into a Commander's, put it on there, I would have been like, Murph,
Take some
can't
pictures.
do the interview today. I gotta go home and put this on eBay for 1,000 or something.
Do it tonight.
Now that I know it's worth, now that I know that was worth 500, I would have never guessed 500.
510.
510.
Can't screw yourself. All right, as we wrap this up, is there anything else you want to say, mention, or just kind of highlight that maybe we didn't discuss about? Any outgoing kind of takes or impressions you want to chuck up there?
Be open to getting into soccer. Like, you'd be surprised.
Circling back to
like the biggest thing that people don't get about soccer is it lasts. It's a longer season than any other sport. The soccer season, it starts in August and it ends in May. It goes on basically all year.
That is a
There's
long
always
season.
if you follow a team, they're playing 2 games every week and a half. You know what I mean?
That's brutal.
Your team's gonna play. You're gonna see them play.
Yeah.
And because like they're all European teams, like the best teams are all European teams, their games aren't on they're not on at super crazy times.
Mm-hmm.
Some games are on at like 11 in They're either on at like noon or like 4 in the afternoon.
Some F1 races are on at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. I skip those. Sometimes I do it but just be open to at least like looking into it. Like people say, wait for the World Cup. Don't wait for the World Cup. The World Cup's not going to make you love soccer.
Once the United States got eliminated last time, I think there was a correlation. Not that they were a favorite to win, but once the United States got eliminated, people in their World Cup craze fell off hard.
Even since then,
it's because of all their casuals.
Everyone's been saying, "Oh, wait for the World Cup. It's coming to the USA. Soccer's gonna explode," and like it didn't last time.
It'll explode for 2 weeks when it's here. Maybe a couple weeks before, but
I remember when I first started coming, you had that Messi card in the case, and it sat for like I want to say like 5 months before, and then it sold. And how long did you have it before I started coming?
Couldn't even tell you.
Exactly. You probably had it for like a year.
That's just so like, and I want to piggyback off what you said. Like, don't be afraid to venture into other things too. Whether that's a wrestling, an F1, a UFC, another sport, something that you're kind of interested in and don't know much about. Go out there and learn it and expose yourself to it.
The amount of young soccer players that hold decently high-end value is very surprising.
Interesting.
Very surprising. Like Messi and Ronaldo are on another level.
They're
gonna have like incredible value, but like these young guys that are coming in, they're holding value.
That's good to know. I mean, I think when the World Cup does come, I think there will be that jump, for about a month or so, just because World Cup, oh wow, it's gonna be in Foxborough. It's going to be in the States, but again...
I'm excited to see what teams are actually playing in Foxborough. I might try to go to a game.
I think they're going to be stupidly priced.
Yeah, but like if it's Liechtenstein versus Uruguay, then...
I still think it'll be like a $400 ticket.
No way.
Yeah. It's the World Cup. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's going to be stupid. Crafts and everyone are going to take advantage.
Yeah, maybe. I'm still gonna try. If
I think the tailgates would be fun, especially if you get a lot of international crowds coming over.
Yeah.
Trying to be Patriots Place at like the bars or in the parking lots. I think that would be a good scene and good atmosphere.
I'm gonna try to get to a game. It's what?
Was it August or 26th?
It's this summer, right?
Next summer.
26.
So we still got a year and a half.
We're in 2025, guys.
We are.
This show won't be out. Well, yeah, this will be your first.
This will be the first episode of this podcast in
2025. Hello, 2025.
Hello, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining both of us here today for Early Morning Setup, a Card Show podcast. We were all over the place talking about this, talking about that, but it was a fun conversation, whether it was talking about soccer, Gerard Mayo getting fired, finding out this Jaden Daniels cards is $500-$600. I mean, it's really fun to just kind of interact in real time and just simply enjoy a good, well-rounded conversation. Are you good? Are you?
I'm dying.
He's dying over there. So we're gonna wrap this up before he does die. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for clicking on this video, watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, smash the thumbs up button, comment down below. Like the video. Well, I think I already said that. Did I say? I don't know. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out the channel membership program. I'm going to put a video over his face, and I want you to click on that next so you guys can watch it, and I'll see you in that video. But until then, peace out, guys.